Well, hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. Right, so it has been quite a while since we last did this, but it's time to have a nice chat with myself and Mando about the future of the game in this case. In this case, it's going to be largely Mando's predictions. We're going to be weighing in, perhaps offering some counter arguments to all of that, and just going to try and put a finger on what we can potentially look forward to in the near future. So let's say hello to Mando before we get any further.
Hello, greetings, salutations. Thank you, KT.
Right, yeah, we're not doing this live this time, so I'm going to upload it as a
I know.
video. Uh,
I figured. I still want to say greetings and salutations.
yeah, so hence, here we are. So the first point that we obviously do want to discuss is the upcoming July 1st deals. And your
Yeah.
prediction is that we are going to see rank 5 materials for Paragon players for the first time ever.
Yeah. I think it's kind of a given. It's been, well, spring cleaning of 2021 is when we first saw the tier 3 and the tier 6 basic for rank 4 materials. And since we're over a year from that, and we have so many different avenues right now that we're seeing for um, for to get rank 4 materials, it seems natural that most top alliances have the top 5 prestige champions currently, max sig, rank 4, all 5 of them. So why not start introducing the next prestige race, which is going to push us further to the max of 6 stars finally.
Yeah, because that is like a legitimate problem now for, I believe, 2 alliances in the game. Third one is closing in as well, where they have reached the max possible prestige in the game, every single member of their teams. So they have prestige of, I believe it's, well, I
I think it's
forgot what,
16-8,
16814 or something like that.
814 or
Yeah.
45. I think it's
Yeah,
45. I
I
think.
think I'm about 12 points below that because I didn't pick Omega Sentinel as my sixth rank 4. Because
Mm.
I just realized that as a team, 12 points. I'm eventually gonna rank up Omega Sentinel though, because I do want to get to that max prestige. It's just
Yeah.
I'm not in that big of a rush anymore. So when it comes to rank 4 materials, though, you can take a look at here at my in-game screen. We can see that we need basically of the stuff that's unavailable in the game right now is 3 specific class catalysts. So that is going to yet again present the same problems TF5CC rollout did initially, except it's going to be exacerbated quite significantly because it's not a single catalyst that we need, it's 3 catalysts that we need.
Yep.
And
I think
obviously it's going to be class based.
Yeah, and I think they're going to have to increase the inventory for both too, because you can't have it where you can either take up a rank 5 or you have to, wait to take a rank 4. It's like you're going to have it where, I mean, this is kind of just an offset of that. I think once we get closer to we're actually forming that, but I do think we'll see it for the first time because it really is. I think we're probably 8 months away from seeing that, like coming to fruition, our first rank 5.
I have a bad
Maybe
feeling that
less.
they're going to repeat the last year's atrocity with the gifting event.
It could happen. I don't know if it would give us you see, the problem is that gave us the second and third for most people, sometimes even the fourth and fifth, depending on how much they spent
Yeah,
of
but
their
the
rank
gift.
fours. But I'm just thinking, when will we see the first rank 5? And I think it kind of goes more to what we'll talk about in a little bit. But I still think we're about 8 months off from the first rank 5
I do think we
as
are
of right now.
quite miles away, but yeah, Kabam can definitely. And here's the scary thing about the tier 6 class catalyst, because Kabam can obviously monetize a living daylight out of it because there's also the fact that you need 3 of the same class. They definitely initially aren't going to be giving out selectors or like full catalyst and stuff like that, and it's going to be the same problem as it was with TF5CCs, where a lot of us, for instance, had 60% of one class, 70% of another class, 40% of another, and even though we might have in total acquired like 2 or 3 catalysts worth, we couldn't even form one to do a rank up because selectors didn't really exist much,
Right.
especially in initial stages of TF5CC. Except this time it's likely going to be even more problematic for people to get to 3 whole catalysts of a single class. But
Yeah, it's going to be interesting.
yeah,
It's going
but
to be
as
interesting.
far
They're
as
going to have
the
to have.
the inventory caps goes, they always up them once it actually happens. Like remember that our inventory cap for tier 5s also was lower, and then they increased. And for tier
Increase,
6,
yeah.
it was also like we could only hold 2 of them, even though we needed like 3.
Yeah, I think the reasoning for waiting on increasing those is because since we don't have a reason to have the rank 5 materials right now, they don't want someone saving up, the tier 3 and the
Yeah,
tier
pretty
6
much. I think
basic
that's
before.
kind of like an.
Yeah. It makes sense, but at the same time. So yeah, so first prediction of mine and subsequently what you have
I think
kind of
it's
thought is the
possible. I'm
July
not
4th is gonna
that
give it. Yeah.
convinced anymore. I was more convinced that if it was gonna happen, it's gonna be spring cleaning. Obviously, it didn't happen spring cleaning. That kind of put
Yeah.
me back a bit to think that maybe Kabam wants to stretch this out later, and we might not see it that soon, and we might only see it a bit later on. So I wouldn't be shocked if we don't see them either.
Yeah. I just think though that because they knew they were about to launch Paragon, that they didn't do it then because they want Paragon to be the one that gets the
Yeah,
rank
well,
5 materials
that is
first.
definitely also quite possible. But yes,
Yeah.
I think it's definitely very, very much so possible. I'm just, again, as I'm saying, it's like I wouldn't be surprised if they don't. Because
Yeah.
one thing that we're all kind of putting it back of our minds and that hasn't yet kind of arrived, and I have a feeling that might be with complications, is the gear system. The gears in the game are coming, right? Despite how
Oh yeah.
many of us might not want it or might not like it, they are arriving, they are coming, and the entire selling point of CCP and many other people uh, for gears was that it's to slow down the game progression and not force Kabam into 7 stars as quickly. And again, having star level at their max rank again kind of shortens that timer to how long the
Yeah.
game can go without 7 stars. And if they really do
I
want to lengthen it, then they have to start focusing on gears more. If they add these
I
catalysts, then we would have like 2 kind of like top
yeah.
chaseables at the same time, which the game typically doesn't.
It typically doesn't. However, I would say, well, we know they're coming because we got a survey like within the last month that was talking literally. It was based around. It was hard not to understand. It was based around gears.
Yeah.
I I kind of feel like we may see the gears before we see an actual rank 5, but I don't think we'll see the gears before we see the materials
Yeah,
for
no,
rank 5.
you,
If
you
that
might
makes
be right
sense.
on that. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm
Yeah.
just saying that,
Yeah.
again, for me,
Yeah.
the kind of like layout strategy on Kabam in between tier 6 catalysts, 7 stars, and gears at the moment seems quite a bit muddled because, from one hand, they are aggressively speeding up the acquisition of rank 4s and rank 4 materials. Haven't seen rank 5 materials yet. Battlegrounds is
Yeah.
still in beta, so it's kind of all up a bit in the air. And, they literally have kind of like 3 bullets in this sense in between 7 stars gears and tier 6 catalysts that they can kind of shoot at us in whatever order they want.
Yeah. Which will kind of tie into the third thing we'll talk about, but
But that was the one thing that I also wanted to kind of quickly add on here. Because remember,
yeah.
we could not take a rank 5 5-star. Sorry, we could not take a 5-star to rank 5 by the time 6 stars got introduced.
Correct. It was like I think we could only get it to foot rank 4,
Yes.
and
And
now
then,
granted, they're hesitant on bringing 7 stars because they don't want everybody to get pissed off
yeah,
about
exactly. That's
restarting
why
the
it's kind of
roster
like
over again.
that
So yeah.
cloudy. It was either
Yeah.
before or about the same time as we could take a rank 5 5-star that we got the 6-star shards and stuff. It was very
Correct.
similar timeline there. So
Yeah. I
again,
remember that.
this time around, it just seems a lot more foggy in a sense because we do have the whole gear thing coming in. Haven't seen any bits of these catalysts. We haven't seen 7-star shards yet. And remember, before they brought in 6 stars, we could start acquiring the 7-star shards for a while. So to me, it's
Yeah.
kind of a
Yeah, I
lot
know what
more
you mean.
up in the air, but it's definitely a big, big, big possibility. Also, the last bit that I did want to mention. So these are the offers in front of me right now that we had for Cyber Weekend, right? And
Correct.
for Thronebreakers. And here is the unfortunate thing that I expect them to do the same thing to Thronebreakers, unfortunately, what they did to Cavalier players. But I
Yeah.
don't think these offers are going to be much better to players that are Thronebreakers than we can see them right here, right now.
Yeah, you're pretty much seeing I think what Thronebreaker is going to be
That's what I'm saying. There
when
might be
July
slight
4th, yeah.
increase in some things, definitely a reduction in some other ones, because I do not think that Kabam went through all the controversy with the Paragon without kind of like emphasizing the worth of the title.
Yeah.
And there's definitely going to be a difference, and I definitely do expect a fairly big gap, just like we did see the time when they introduced Thronebreaker title, where cow players saw, I believe, like July 4th offers, and then when they introduced Thronebreaker in between and Cyber Weekend came, and cow player offers were arguably even slightly worse than they were in July 4th, and Thronebreakers got the better offers. So it's a nasty thing. I'm not advocating for it. I'm not saying that's a good or right thing to do. It's just for players that are still at the level of Thronebreaker, which is many players that have yet to become Paragon. I do kind of foresee quite a bit of anger coming out there.
Yeah, I could definitely see that being a problem. But yeah, when they introduce a new rank, it's always rough because you go from where the top deals had to cover those future Paragon plus the existing Thronebreaker, and now you have where there is going to be a disconnect between Thronebreaker and Paragon, and Thronebreaker is really going to be what you got last time, pretty much. Very slight changes.
And I do think we're going to see this type of store returning as well, rather than the cash offers that they have started doing more and more.
It honestly, it was better because it lets you, instead of saying you have to spend this amount. I mean, there still was
It's
kind of a
better in
little bit
terms
you
of
had to
choice,
spend.
but it's also cheekier in terms of total costs because it
Wasn't it
creates
21,000 versus 18,000 if you wanted to buy everything?
it was
I
like
think units.
24 or
Oh,
27,
24,
24
yeah.
or
It was a lot.
27,000, something like that. If you wanted to buy everything, definitely was more than the 15 or 18,000 mark. So this is just
Yeah,
yet again.
18. They added 18, what, a year or a year and a half before
They had it
that they
18 for
started doing
nearly
this?
2 years or 3 years. They
Yeah.
had 15, and then they did first additional bump for 3,000. You could get like a 6-star Nexus Crystal or something. Nobody really bought that, or many people didn't buy. But then they started adding that, extra gem or something like that for the 3,000, and then it stayed for 15 plus 3 for about 2 years, I think.
And it also gets rid of the whole when they used to do that system and they had the extra 3,000, you had to pick one or the other. Remember, you had to pick.
Yeah.
You could either get all these sig stones, or you could get an
Yeah.
awakening gem and a nexus or something like that.
So we'll
So
see how
now
they
it
do it,
makes
but
it
I
like
do
get
think
everything.
it's gonna be the store.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. 100% it will be the store. And honestly, I think it's better for people that don't buy the offers and use their units, and it's also good for people that want to just get certain things but not necessarily everything.
Yeah, well, there's definitely again upsides and downsides, but obviously, when it comes to making money, in this type of format, Kabam aren't slow or silly. They know exactly what they're doing, and in this format, they also probably get more from people because there's more on the offer in the sense.
Okay, T, it's all about the F word that ends in 4 letters called FOMO.
Yeah.
Fear of missing out.
Pretty
That's what
much.
they're worried that people are going to get.
Right, and then I guess we can start, with the offers again. So there is a very good chance that we're going to see the rank 5 materials where we're going to land. You're convinced on it. Maybe I'm a bit more reserved. I'm saying that there's a decent chance that we will not see them either. I'm not saying that you're wrong at all, but it's definitely a possibility. But now we can move on.
We've got less than a month to find out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the great thing. Because I think the deals are going to come on the first
yeah,
of
it's going to be 1st of July. I'm actually going to have a very big thing for the 1st of July, something that's going to be quite interesting, and some stuff leading up to 1st of July offers as well. And there's going to be at least one lucky person who's going to get all of the offers, all of the cash offers, this year, if they are subscribed to my channel and stuff like that. So that's going to be interesting. I'm going to announce that either today or tomorrow properly. We'll see how time goes.
Well, I guess you guys got a tease of it now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nice.
So there's going to be some fun stuff leading up to it as well. There's going to be a very interesting 1st of July stream.
Awesome.
But right, so the second topic is, so you're saying that Grandmasters Gauntlet is going to return after July 4th deals? Question is though, it's going to return when? Is it going to return in July or in August?
See, that's what I was thinking. So I don't know if they'll do it in July itself. And the reason I know it'll be after July 4th deals. And the reason being is because they want everybody to go all out and use their money for July 4th. I don't think they'll do it in July, and the reason being, meaning it'll probably be August at the earliest. And I think I'm really putting a strong focus on August because one, it's over a year. June was when it last came out, June of last year.
And they did promise
July
coming back.
4th, you did say it was going to come back if you missed it. Number two, the fact that you're going to have all these units if you don't buy a lot of the things from the July 4th store, they don't want you to have those on reserve. They want you to possibly have to buy more units if you need to. So that's why I'm thinking they're going to wait until August. It could even be September before we see it, or they could even wait till October. Who knows? But I'm thinking August is a really good time, I think, unless they release Act 8 in
And it's
August.
Act 8 is going to be coming somewhere around that time as well.
Yeah,
and
it's
Kabam,
gonna be not that time, but yeah.
but Kabam does have a tendency to squeeze several of these things kind of in at the same time quite often, like berate you, completely empty your stash, and then capitalize on it. Like the most Kabam thing ever would be kind of like release a chapter of Act 8 Grandmasters Gauntlet, then we're gonna have Eternity of Pain, some sort of finale, then maybe some other random thing, and then pretty much immediately drop something like a
boss rush or something,
or something like
yeah,
that, because they do like to cap. I have noticed that myself, where my stash is full for 10 months, a year, something like that, and then all of a sudden it's just bang 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 bang, where it kind of empties out to a point where I'm pretty much kind of have to use units for a bit, or barely scrape by. And then for the rest of the year, or for another 6 months, you just kind of quietly amass the stash. Everything's in overflow, everything's maxed out, and then again something bang 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 comes out, kind of like the Korean volume challenges, for instance. There's going to be at some point when the volume 3 comes out, it's going to be interesting to see how Kabam times it. But I think that yeah.
I know. I was gonna say, yeah. We kind of I have a prediction about that too. But yeah, I really feel like the Grandmaster Gauntlet is gonna be right around the time. It won't be like the same week as Act 8 gets released. I really feel like Act 8, Chapter 1 will probably be August. And I feel like maybe 2 weeks to maybe 3 or 4 weeks, we'll get the Grandmaster's Gauntlet if it comes out at that time. But it could be right after. I mean, you could be right. They just slam us with both week after week,
So obviously the Grandmaster's Gauntlet, the initial point is to bring it back to everybody who didn't complete it the first time. But again, I failed to see a version of Grandmaster's Gauntlet coming back where it does not have Chapter 2, especially if you look at the screen right now. Once you actually browse Grandmaster's Gauntlet, it quite literally says Chapter 1. And now, if you
that was my other thing, was that they're definitely, when they bring it back, there will be a new chapter for everybody to complete it at last.
Yeah, I'd be willing to bet my house on it, pretty much. Because at no other event, at any given point, if there wasn't Chapter 2 planned, we don't see Chapter 1 written on top of it.
Right.
Like in any boss rush, in any event, and any type of thing, I actually a while back went back and checked, and typically if it is a solo standalone thing that's not meant to have continuation, they never put that Chapter 1 on it.
It almost opens them up to another FOMO event, where instead of like being a Karina challenge or anything like that, it's quote permanent content that is timed, if that makes any sense whatsoever.
Well, yeah, that's kind of like the thing that I think that they would plan with Grandmaster's Gauntlet, because again, if they would bring back Grandmaster's Gauntlet without Chapter 2, then first of all, there would be a whole group of players who did it the first time around, who just don't care about it at all. And that is typically the most competitive group that, kind of Kabam tries to tease. Obviously, that Chapter 1 has to come back to everybody who wasn't at a point where they could do it. It would be silly, I think, for them. Well, first of all, they promised that's about all of it, right? They promised that if you did miss out on this time around, it's going to come back for you to try. So I do think we're going to see Chapter 1, Chapter 2. You can do one if you haven't done it, but if you have done it already, you can access 2. Or if you hadn't done the Chapter 1, you can access both, is what I mean. Or if you had done the 1, you can just do the second chapter.
Yeah, I really think that that's going to be the way you get everybody excited about it again, is the people that missed it, that have been waiting for it. And the other thing too is, they said it was going to come back. They promised it was going to come back. They didn't say when, and now we know for a fact it's been over a year now, and it hasn't come back. So when it comes back, it's going to be a big deal, because we know it may not be. It may be another year or so before it comes back again.
Yeah, definitely.
But I feel like it'll definitely be after July 4th, because they're going to want to get your units. or get you to spend more money to get units after you've used all their deals and
And
such,
and
just
again,
to get the
looking at the
materials.
rewards, also that is kind of a good way for them to carry on that continuation of like increasing, because
Yeah.
realistically they wouldn't bring back chapter 2 without increasing the rewards, which they cannot do on chapter 1 anymore because that's kind of like a set in stone
Yeah.
content. So I think the way to view Grandmasters Gauntlet might be, if this game obviously lasts that long, that it's just kind of like a story content that's available for 1 month in a year, you know,
Yep.
and then let's say in
Every,
another
that
year they bring it
sometime the
back again with
next
chapter
year,
3.
yeah, sometime in the next year it'll come back for 1 month again,
Yeah, and then
and
the
then you
rewards
move
kind of get
on.
progressively better.
Now, the one thing I would mention is don't expect them to give away the bank on the next chapter's rewards either. I think that it'll be decent, not nothing too great for where the game is at now, but it'll be decent enough to entice players, but not enough to like get a full rank 4 or something like that. That's what I would say.
I think it's probably gonna have like a catalyst and a half. Looking at the first one, had about half a catalyst
Yeah,
of
I think
rank 4,
so.
so it's probably gonna be like
I would
1.5 in
say,
my head.
yeah, I would say look at it as probably having one full of each at most even, and the reason being is because look at like Attorney of Pain,
Yeah, but
they're giving you 1.5 for the top if you're Paragon. So I know it just depends though.
yeah, but again, Eternity of Pain really is kind of a bit noodled down Event of Summer of Pain, because in reality it's much shorter. It's gonna be much more kind of like quicker event, with the point of it coming back and returning, which is probably the reason why a lot of people are disappointed with the rewards uh,
Yep.
for Eternity of Pain, because realistically they're nowhere near as exciting as Summer of Pain rewards were when they first time came around. I'm not trying to
Yeah,
bash
that's
those
true.
rewards, but
They
when
were good at
Summer
the
of Pain
time.
came, when Grandmaster Gauntlet came, everybody was like super hype about these rewards, and as far as Eternity of Pain, they don't quite show the same.
Yeah, I will say, if people forget this, this is right before the input issue we had because
Yeah.
this was in June, July, right after July 4th, or right around July 4th is when the input issue first reared its ugly head for that update. And so, yeah, it's going to be a little different, the gauntlet this time, I'll tell you that, even if you didn't do it the first time.
You
So,
brought
yeah,
up the input issues, didn't you?
I
It's
didn't
gonna
mean
give me
to.
an aneurysm, I swear to God.
I know, I know.
Uh,
But yeah, that's what I think. I think he'll be coming back after July 4th. It'll probably be August if I had to guess, and it's gonna have another chapter for everybody. That's my
my
next
question
prediction.
though is, will they make the second chapter available only to Paragons?
Oh God, if they did that, do you know how much they would anger every? Well, if they do it after July 4th,
Well,
they could say,
here's the
"Well, you
thing.
should have
Like,
bought all
if
the
I
stuff."
was Kabam, and
Yeah.
if I was an evil money-making machine,
Okay, evil money
I
making
would
machine.
bring back Eternity of Pain for second week of July, but I would announce it before July offers, and I would put
Oh
in the
yeah.
Paragon requirement with
Oh.
a supplemental message of sell your kidney to become Paragon if you want to play this, or wait another year.
You said on Eternity of Pain, but you meant Grandmaster Gauntlet, right?
Yeah, I mean Grandmasters. So I would
Okay, yeah,
announce
yeah. That's what I
Grandmasters
meant. Yeah.
Gauntlet for second week of July. I would release the event note saying it's returning
Oh.
with Chapter 2 specifically for Paragon players only. And I do that some days before July sales go live.
Oh my God, you sound just evil enough to make it happen. Like that is exactly what they do. You're right.
That
Or
is,
they may not even say when it's coming back. They may just say you probably want to become Paragon
or
the next
something
time
like
we
that.
offer
But,
deals.
but I would basically say Grandmaster's Gauntlet is coming back in July with additional chapter for the most capable Paragon players, or something like that. Kind of like
Yeah.
casually throwing it in there, and just sit there, watch people, panic and pull their head out to become
Yep.
Paragon.
Yep. I can see that, but especially because
That's what I
the
would do if I
first,
were for Kabam.
well, and not only that, the first section of Eternity of Pain is going to be over by then too. So that means the second one you're going to want to be Paragon to get the extra objectives to
Oh
get more
yeah,
stuff in. So
exactly.
yeah.
To kind of pile out as
Yeah.
many incentives as you possibly can for people to
Yep.
shell out as much as they can in July. And
That
then to add
that
an insult to injury, I would obviously add in the rank 4 resources in the Thronebreaker deals as well, to like a moderate degree, just to make sure
yeah.
that people have to shell out as much as they can of their money uh, as
Which
Thronebreakers for rank 4
well, on
materials.
that, and then of course they get the benefit of if they become
Yeah,
Paragon
and then they
after
can,
buying the
if they can
Thronebreaker
afford,
deal,
they
they
can
can
buy
buy
them
the deals.
again.
Yeah.
and
So you're
quote-unquote
right. That
catch
would
up.
be
That's
add
exactly
more
what I would do.
incentives to become Paragon. Yeah, you're right. You're right. And if they give rank 5 materials like I had thought, then yeah, it definitely gives everybody a reason to become Paragon. Everything all at once. Jeez,
Everything,
man, you're
everywhere, all at
evil.
once.
You're evil. All right, well, let's talk
I
about
am a
number 3
sick,
then.
sick, twisted fuck, yes. But,
Yeah.
you know, everybody
Yeah,
can be
I know
happy that
that.
I don't work for Kabam, and this might not happen.
I don't know, man. I think you're
Yeah.
the I think you're the evil CEO of Kabam and I'm giving you the ideas right here. Oh no. I've done it. I've ruined it, the community. No.
I mean, I'm just again putting it like, if I was sitting at the side of the table to try and make sure that we get as much money for July deals, that is exactly what I would do.
Yeah.
Because again, as you mentioned before, it's the FOMO thing. Everybody's afraid of missing out.
Don't want to miss out. Don't want to miss
Especially, and
out, man.
Grandmasters
That's fine.
Gauntlet, they have perfectly marinated for over a year, so everybody knows if you miss this
That's
one,
what I
if you're
was
not
thinking. Yeah.
Paragon,
I was thinking the fact it's been over a year, we know for a fact this thing is not going to come around at like on a timetable that we know. It's going to be
yeah,
whenever they feel like they need to milk some money and make another chapter
exactly.
and
And
boom.
Grandmasters Gauntlet, in essence, is known as like one of the best events we have ever had, like the most challenging, most
Yeah.
rewarding, most everything. So,
It's
so you know,
basically like
virtually
a mini
everybody misses.
labyrinth.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a
and
mini labyrinth that's rotating. You know, it
you
comes
know,
in and
if you
out every so often.
announce Chapter 2,
Yeah.
Paragons only, great rewards,
Yeah,
even
it can happen.
harder maps, better rewards. And then
Yeah.
you watch people dance from the deepest depths of hell.
Jeez, man. Yeah, that could happen.
Like,
That's gonna be it.
luckily though, I'm not working for Kabam, so everybody can chill out. It's probably
Well,
not
it
gonna
doesn't
happen.
matter. You know, someone at Kabam is watching this right now as we speak, and
They're like, ooh,
they're
that's a
her they're
brilliant idea.
they're furiously typing up the email so they
Yeah,
can get
yeah.
the
It's
kudos
like, hey
for
boss,
it.
I just got the best idea.
This came to me in my sleep. I don't
uh,
pay no attention to YouTube for a while, but this came to me in my sleep. And by the way, just to let
if
you
it
know,
well, if it does happen,
yeah,
it's not my fault.
it's not KT's fault. However, you can reward him and myself by your in-game name. Just send us a quick little thing. We promise not to post it. Yeah, okay, that's it. Wink, wink. Joking.
It's like, if this
Uh,
does happen, please do not show up at my house with like a pitchfork or something.
all of a sudden, you just look
Like,
outside and like, I
uh,
thought it was nighttime. Why does it look bright
it's
outside?
like
And there's
that
like 50
Simpsons
people
mob.
with pitchforks and torches. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be great.
Anyways, that is what I would do if I was evil corporate type.
Yeah, well, it doesn't surprise me. Yeah. Well. All right. Well, third thing. Okay, third thing I'm thinking, and this is kind of a minor one. We kind of know about it, but Act 8 is coming.
Yeah, we do.
Obviously, we
We
know
don't know.
that.
Did you do the beta?
Um, I did majority of it. I didn't 100% it because
Oh,
I just really
then
didn't
you
have the time.
immediately by not 100%ing it, you lost like 10k 6 runs.
I know, but I was 100%ing Act 7 and trying to get my fifth and fourth, rank 4 right
Hmm.
now. Anyway, just leave me alone. Okay, it came at a bad time. If it was now, I would have been able
You
to
know, I
100%
actually
it.
kind of struggled to complete it anyways, because without trying to sound like a downer, I was just kind of fed up with Act 8 already because it was exactly the same as Act 7. There were those
Yeah,
weapon nodes were cooler without a doubt than the Paradox ones,
it
100%. But
improved,
it
but it
virtually
was
felt exactly the same whenever I played any single map, fought any single boss. I felt like I have done it a ton of times already, and
yeah,
it was still the same 666 format, 663 format or whatever they do, and
yeah.
the difficulty of the fights. Again, half of the fights you get the attack increase, stuff like that, and it just doesn't really feel like a serious content,
It,
and I kind of
it
get that. And I'm not saying that Kabam has to make it like they did Act 6, where they virtually did different nodes on every fight, and there were insane amount
yeah.
of paths and gates and insane amount of fights themselves on the path and stuff like that. I'm not saying to go back to that, but come on, just change
No.
it up. Like on a personal
I
level, I'm just kind of bored.
I got what you're saying because Act 5 to Act 6 was different. Act 6, Act 7 was quite different. That's when they had the three different bosses, the different nodes to go there,
Well,
the different cross fights, all that. You could change your champions out. Act 8 really hasn't added anything new.
yeah,
It's like
well,
just more of the same.
it's like even a bit more depressing, is in the sense that when somebody shows me a screenshot of a map or part of the map in Act 5, I can pretty much recognize it. Maybe not all of them, but
Yeah.
most of them. Somebody shows me a
Right.
screenshot of a part of a map in Act 6. I can virtually recognize all of them, especially 6.1 and 2.
Oh
3
God,
and
don't
4
talk
are a
to me
bit
about that.
fuzzly because they already went to the 6.6 format. Somebody shows me a
Yeah, but
screenshot from Act 7. I have no clue. I have no clue
yeah,
which chapter
7.
it is. I have no clue, who the bosses are for those. And, it's, I think, a compounding effect of A, lowering the difficulty, which again, I don't have that big of a problem. I understood the issue with it. And again, I have explained it many times around that I prefer Act 6 type of difficulty and content for myself. It's just, I don't necessarily think it has to be mandatory story progression content. I think I'd
Yeah.
prefer, let's say,
Well, I think
6.2
they've
as a
with the
variant
two.
up difficulty or something like that.
Yeah, with the fact they've nerfed it now coming on twice,
Yeah,
Act 6, I think they've kind of decided they weren't going to make story
yeah,
content
and
be
that I'm kind of
at
fine
that
with.
level,
But also
which
by
is fine.
reducing the difficulty, they seemingly how I don't know cut out the creative part of the brain because every part is
Yeah.
the same, every map is the same, every other boss fight's pretty much the same. You just kind of have to find a champion that fits the nodes that kind of cheeses it, and 70% of Act 7. It's fun in kind of shallow, unsatisfying way. Like if you found some
Yeah.
cool cheese in Act 6, you were like really happy, really proud about it because there wasn't a lot of it, and it was typically like individual fight or maybe one boss. In Act 7, like you look at the map and like 3 of the 6 paths can easily be cheesed, and other 3, you just kind of ignore half of the nodes and you push through it. And
There
again,
yeah,
I'm
I
not
want
necessarily talking about the difficulty. I'm just talking about the kind of monotone version. And a lot of people love Act 7, and I'm not trying, again, I'm not trying to trigger everybody and say that, they need to do all of these things, but they need to do something to make it different.
well, and to kind of touch on that and a little bit of a tangent too. There's a song by Nine Inch Nails which is called "Everything Every Day Is Exactly the Same," and there's a line where he basically thinks, I believe I can see the future because every day is exactly the same. Because it's like if you know it's going to be consistent, it's going to be the same thing. You literally can predict the future because it's not going to change. Everything's going to be exactly the same, and that's kind of great song by the way. But yeah, but it is kind of what Act 8 felt like. But my prediction is not about that, not about difficulty, and not about that. It's about just like Act 7 started introducing rank 4 after the spring cleaning. Now, Act 7 1 didn't because it came pre spring cleaning 2021, but everything after that had rank 4 materials. I believe Act 8 is going to have rank 5 materials. And in addition to that,
Well, I 100% agree with the fact that Act 8 is going to have rank 5
yeah,
materials.
Act 8 is going to have it. It's going to
The
have it.
question
But
is whether Chapter 1 is going to have any of that.
that's what I was gonna say. The only thing is this is it all has to do with July 4th. It kind of is like all this flows together. If July 4th introduces to Paragon players rank 5 materials, it's very possible they may introduce it in 8.1. However, they may wait, and because Paragon is still so new and they're just dripping that out, they may not have it in 8.1, but it will be in point 2, point 3, and point
Yeah, because
and point
that's what I
4.
wanted to get at. Because if you take a look at Act
Yeah.
7, we didn't have any rank 4 materials at 7.1
No.
either.
Yeah. But that did come out prior to spring of 2021, which is when spring cleaning was. I will say though that I think that they may follow suit for consistency, knowing that like everything's kind of the same as it was with Act 7. They may have rank 4 materials, but not rank 5 in the first chapter. But as a whole, for exploration and chapter 2, 3, and 4, we will see rank 5
Oh my
materials.
god,
That's
I
what I
just
kind of
looked
was
at
saying.
7.1 rewards and they're so atrocious.
They're bad. I did that as the last 100% because I had done some of it when it was out, but I 100% of 7.2 when it came out, and then I did 3 and 4 whenever all of it was done. And I went back thinking I was going to get my fifth rank 4 there, and I realized, wait a minute, there's no rank 4 material.
Yeah, there's only,
It sucked.
yeah, there's two 25% crystals, one
Mhm.
25% selector, random 1 to 2 gem, 10,000 6-star shards, 1 6-star nexus, 20 generic SIGs, and 20 class SIGs. And obviously you do get
Yeah.
path exploration stuff,
Sure, but I
but
mean,
but
yeah, but
but
it had
still,
nothing. Like even the path exploration had
yeah,
no rank 4 materials, which was crazy. So that's
yeah.
what I'm saying. I'm saying Act 8 as a whole, not 8.1. So
Oh yeah,
don't think that I'm
Act 8,
saying
like that is what they have always done though. Every single
yeah,
act always gives enough materials, always has given enough materials for one rank up with the next progression level. If you haven't noticed
correct.
that, then you can take a look at since, I believe, even Act 3. I typically start this example from Act 4, but we can probably take a look at Act 3, where Act 3 100% gives you the. Or what does it give you? Actually, maybe no, maybe it started with Act 4. That's why I never
I think
used
it
it.
I think it was Act
But it's
4
probably
because of
because Act 3 has been reworked like X amount of times, anyways. But with Act
yeah,
4, the point is we got the 4 tier 2 alpha catalysts, not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 tier 2 alpha catalysts, because that is what we needed for a rank 5 4-star. So before Act
yeah,
4, nobody could rank up any. And then with Act 5, all of a sudden, we didn't get like a half or smittens of tier 5 basics. We got 2 full ones for exploring it, which was, that is what you needed to do to get your first rank 5 5-star. And then Act 6, again, Act 6 obviously is where the game had its complications, and that was the first time ever when first new rank was not achieved by playing content but purchased with offers and stuff like that. But still, Act 6 has a fully formed tier 5 CC crystal in it. So it does give you a
yeah,
full tier 5 CC crystal. So if you're realistically talking about culmination of Act 8, then we are also talking about enough materials to take up a 6-star from rank 4 to rank 5 whenever it concludes. Obviously, that's still
yeah.
ways away.
Still way, yeah. We haven't even seen the first chapter come out. I mean,
But
and they have been released some a little more timely, I would say, but even so, we're still over a year away from that.
yeah.
But kind of subsequently, and I counted this towards the same prediction, is Karina Volume 3. We know it will be coming, but we will not see it until probably the beginning to spring of 2023 at the earliest, because it seems to be one a year. It kind of seems like, and it's kind of where the game progresses. Because if you look at Volume 2 versus Volume 1, Volume 2 was 100% worth doing more than the tediousness of Volume 1 if you didn't do it right when it came out.
Wait, when was Karina
Um,
Volume 2 released?
it was released, what was it, March, I think, this year?
Because that wasn't like a full year. It was
It was March.
March,
Well,
yeah.
yeah, it was March, but the other one was what, May, I think? Or April of Volume 1? When was Volume
Karina
1?
Volume 1, let's check it out. Uh, yeah, it
It
was
was May.
May.
So it was like 2 months prior. So that's why I was
So it was
saying
like a 10 months
spring.
gap.
Yeah,
So,
so that's what I was saying. Spring would be like January.
yeah, I wanted to say it
January
could be
to
like
February.
January, February, or December even maybe, but probably not because December they do the whole gifting thing normally and stuff
Yeah,
like
that's what I was thinking. They'd wait till after the
that.
gifting.
So
So
yeah,
I
January,
think it will
February is
be
probably when we
2023.
maybe can expect it. If everything goes fine.
Yeah. So, and the reason why is because I think it will be a better progression of the game. It may be what finally gives us, or is close to giving us, our first rank 5. I'm not quite sure. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it will definitely have rank 5 stuff in there, and that being so far off, kind of is when I would expect Act Point 2 beta to be starting too. So I don't know.
Well,
We'll
I
see.
don't know. Like they seem to be quite quick with story content right now. Like the
Yeah,
only
that's
reason we
yeah.
had to wait as long as we did for Act 7 was because everybody went Pitchfork Mob after
On a 7
7.1
point.
beta,
Yeah,
and that
they had to
pushed it
redo
back
it.
basically entire 3 or 4 months, I think.
Yeah, but
So
I don't know. We could see. I just don't know if they'll slam that out. It could release Act 8.2 right after the Cyber Weekend deals too. Who
yeah, I wanted to
knows?
say
But
I
I'm
do
not
believe we
predicting
could
that.
see 8.2 by end of the year as well, possibly.
Yeah, it's possible. But yeah, that I just wanted to throw that out there so we know about 8. Nothing real huge to talk here. 8 Act 8 will have rank 5 materials as a whole, not necessarily 8.1, and then Karina Volume 3 will be early next year, is my guess at the earliest.
Yep,
And
and
I consider that to be like kind of a given, but looking at the track record, that's the reason why I thought that. But kind of circling back to what we talked about, unless there's anything else you want to mention about that.
no, I
Sorry.
think we're good there. We
Okay.
can check out the
Um,
prestige sheets here.
So we had mentioned this. We were talking earlier about rank 5 materials in general, and how most alliances, which I found out, I didn't know this, but the tiebreaker, if you have the same prestige as one another, the tiebreaker, because you'll get the same score if you 100% everything, is how quickly you do the map each day
Is
combined.
it? I did not know that.
Yeah, that's what I just found out. I found that out. 100% been guaranteed, because we asked 2 alliances that were tied, and that's what it was. And anyway, long story short,
Those poor guys, now they only don't need to. Not only they
yeah,
need to, beat up prestige, but now those suckers need all to be running Liquid Courage double legends with,
they need to hurry as quick as possible.
and perhaps even dude, I would not enjoy Alliance War if I had to kind of like fight while I'm boosted
Yeah,
or something like that.
I
Alliance
mean,
Quest, and in general, honestly, Alliance Quest, I just wish they either done away with it or significantly reduced it. I personally feel like
yeah,
Alliance Quest, the entire thing, is kind of like taking the same exam every single day, knowing that you can do it and score, all the marks on it. Because
correct. Yeah,
because
that's how it.
I just think there's no need. Why there's no need to torture us on weekends and first thing in mornings and afternoons and stuff like that, knowing that we can always do it. Alliance, no matter what they do to Alliance Quest, it always gets stale within a few weeks. So I think Kabam
Well,
needs to realize
yeah,
it, lower the resources they're putting in Alliance Quest, make the maps much, much shorter, and just kind of,
they're
make sure
they're
that you log in
definitely.
every day, do your 5, 6 fights, perhaps, make it possible in like one go and, have the boss, something like that, and that's it. There's no need for this elaborate map and 20 fights or whatever fights you need to do in Alliance. It's just unnecessary.
Yeah, our alliance, or at least my battle group, has really streamlined it where we can get to section 3 in the first 7 hours now.
Yeah, it's not just
But
about that.
it's everybody.
It's much more about you're having a bad day or you want to have a nice evening out of the home and the
Yeah, you
mood
want to be
lower and stuff
away.
like
You want
that.
to be away from the game.
And and especially it's because it's not even, competitive thing. It's just a ball and a chain around your leg that you have to be on it constantly. And again, they
Yeah,
can do the still the daily aspect of it. I don't mind about it that much. It's just that I think it has to be made as painless as possible. Brief.
yeah,
Make the fights
yeah,
whatever you want them to. Make them as challenging as you want them, or as easy as you want them. But have the principle of as long as the player shows up, joins the alliance quest, does the path, leave one spot free for somebody who can be busy. Have 9 paths in there. Each path can have whatever amount of, let's say, I don't know, have 9 paths, only one section. Each 3 paths share a mini boss, and then go to fight a boss or something like that. And just make sure that you can do it with a single energy, and that's it. So as long as you show up within that 24-hour period and do what you have to do, that's it.
yeah. It would make it. I know that they're looking at something because they did a very big survey
Yeah,
earlier this year with it.
like
But
I think, yeah, Alliance Quest is just nobody.
but the reason why, yeah, the whole reason why we brought up Alliance Quest, and why I mentioned that, what the tiebreaker was, which I thought was interesting. I wanted to share that. My next prediction is regarding prestige, which is what Alliance Quest kind of is all about. Is the top prestige gets the top spots because they get the more multipliers and such. So I think with the race for the top prestige already starting with rank 5s, and that most players already have the top 5 max sig level champions at rank 4 already, there's going to be a new king of prestige taking the #1 spot this year before this year is over. And I'm talking about top 5 because we've seen top 5 change over the last 12 months because we've had Hercules come in, we've had Omega Sentinel. I'm talking about Silver Surfer no longer being the #1 prestige champion in this game, period.
Well,
We're going to have a new #1.
to be honest, like I do kind of expect there to be another 3 champions, quite possibly.
Oh, well, that's
Another
going a little bit
in
further.
between,
We're,
like
we're
one
not
to.
there yet.
Well,
We're going to talk about that, but yes, we're not there yet. But I do think there's going to be more champions that are added. But I really think that we haven't seen anyone since, I think, December or no, November. No, it was December 2019 is when Silver Surfer came out. I
yeah.
want to say maybe it was 2020. Anyway, regardless, Surfer came out, and he came out right after Doom, who was also the top at the time. Those two came out in November and December, respectively, of the same year, and they've been the top 2 prestige champions since then. And while we've had some hit 3 and 5 and 4 and whatnot, we need a new #1. I'm 100% sure we're going to see a new number one, and the reason being, for this to happen, this is my thought, and I want to ask your opinion too on who you think it could be, but you know who mine is. But they're going to do this for a lot of different reasons. One, they're going to want everybody in the top alliances to go after this champion to buy crystals or grind arena to get him. They're going to want them to also do the same thing to get the sig stones to max them out. And at the layman players that don't care about prestige, they're going to make it a champion that they really, really want to sell crystals because the character's so cool, or the character is badass and just does so much. Kind of like what we saw with Doctor Doom, because Doctor Doom is not only a top prestige, he's the number one mystic. He basically melts everything. He's a tank, he's got all that out there. And so my thing is based on that. My prediction is Doom is going to come back as the number one prestige as Doom 2099, making him a tech champion, making him fit into the meta, because we have Spider-Man 29, Guillotine 2099, Punisher 2099. Doom 2099 is basically the ultimate superior Doom because he is our Doctor Doom that got transported in the future. And I think that's what they're going to do. He has a really cool outfit. I think that would make more people buy him. He would be the new number one um, prestige champion. I don't know, but there's going to be a new one before the end of the year, regardless. What do you think?
I do think here's the first kind of like more grounded prediction. If I know the year that we're living in, I
Yep.
do think that either Wiccan or Hulkling are going to be somewhere in top 5 prestige.
I think they'll be top 5, but not number one. I'm
Yeah,
talking about
they
number
could
one.
be number 1 as well. Trust me on that. I think either Wiccan or Hulkling is going to be insanely high. I think so. If not that, then it's going to be Silver Surfer. Sorry, not Silver Surfer, Quicksilver. That also manages to be in there.
Quicksilver could help.
I think
but
Quicksilver could jump in there, but again, all of those, I kind of think more for spots 3, 4, 5 or something like that they will jump
Yeah.
in. I do think that I do understand why you say Doctor Doom, and that is perfectly possible as well. We also know that there are alternate versions of Silver Surfer. One of them has had like a very huge fan following. Kind of like Ultimate Silver Surfer. I forgot the name of it.
What does he do again? Because I could probably remember it if you give me some
don't remember.
information on it.
I know a couple of people in my mod chat were absolutely obsessed with that variant of Silver Surfer. As in like the most OP version of Silver Surfer. I'm just not entirely sure who that could be. So my like, I do think that it's at this point somewhat already iconic. And by the way, just so we are clear, Silver Surfer in this game is an absolute monster at this point. Silver Surfer is quite legitimately about as much used by me as Hercules is day to day. And
no, I use him a lot.
I use him every day in AQ. He's one of the Battlegrounds
Same.
MVPs, as we discovered, for virtually all of the metas. Especially for Safeguard and this current one. He just puts in insane work. He's one of the quickest possible answers to Penny, because here is the game plan of Silver Surfer against Penny, right? So you start with parry heavy, get the power buff, whatever, get to 1 bar of power. Thanks to your power gain buff, you can do that before Penny gets to a bar of power. Then you wait until your Power Cosmic reactivate, shoot your level 1 in her block with 2 Furies and obviously putting on armor breaks, significantly already bashing down her shield. Then you only need to do about 1 combo in her block, at which point you kind of start playing aggressively, get to your level 2, drop it, and it's going to be unblockable, and that unblockable is going to last long enough for you to drop another combo and special if needed. I think quickest I have killed Penny Parker Silver Surfer is like 38 seconds, 100% health.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's good to know. That's a good tip.
Especially because you can still benefit from that unblockable. Because the timing wise, you get the shield down, you get to level 2, you drop your level 2, and somewhere around that time, that shield gets reactivated. And in several fights, I have managed to finish the fight in a sense where I don't have to deal with the second shield anymore because I'm still unblockable and I don't care about it. You know?
Yeah, no. I think a lot of people just look at him as a prestige champion.
Absolutely
which he
not.
isn't.
He's also one of the quickest Killmonger killers.
Yes. Oh my God, Killmonger! I use him on my Lions Quest weekly, and he's awesome.
Yeah, and he's been an absolute machine. So
So you think it may be a new Silver Surfer that we could see as a prestige? If it's not, here's what I've always noticed. Typically, science it can have high prestige, but it's always been either Cosmic or Mystic that have been the top, with the exception of the rank 3 being a mutant. But most of the time, it's that we see in the top prestige.
well,
So I don't know.
here's also an idea. Since we
We'll
know
have a picture
that
of Doom 2099, by the
we
way.
okay, since it's reasonable for us to assume that
Oh, right.
the
Jay's
prestige
been
game
right.
is about to be shaken up, right?
Yep. His
In very
prediction for
very
the
near
year.
future is what we expect to happen.
Yeah.
Definitely
It could
within
be.
this year. So knowing that fact, I think what we can do is we can take a look at JAX's predictions of upcoming champions.
Yeah, he's been pretty good.
He's been flawless for 4 months now, or 3 months now. I think no, flawless for 4 months, probably 5.
Who is it in September that's coming out?
So
Who's
here's
the
the thing.
woman?
Right, so here's the picture. I'm gonna open it in the new tab as well.
I couldn't see. I forgot who it was.
Yeah, I know it is. So, oh, I made it too small, but here we are.
You went tiny.
Yeah. So we see that in July we have Valkyrie, which has been 100% confirmed. Everybody's expecting Gore to be the second one, which could also be the highest prestige champion.
Yeah, either one of them too.
I think Gore has a very good chance actually. Now that I can see that Silver Surfer reversion, aside from Herald maybe, it's not gonna be there. I think it's realistically looking out of all of these, probably gonna be Gore that has insane prestige. I think Gore or Quicksilver.
Well, if they're going the MCU route, they would give it to Valkyrie though. Because there is, I mean, they just gave Omega Sentinel a top 5. They could go that route. You never know.
Maybe. I kind of think of Gore because Gore has such like immense storyline and impact on people.
I agree with you, and I think that would be one that would get people to buy, because that's what I'm looking at as the average Joe, a champion that the average Joe would also want, not just for prestige, but the average Joe would be like, I really want this champion. That's what I would want to sell crystals.
So again, it's Gore or Quicksilver, I think, most likely.
Yeah, you could be right, but I mean, again, I know there's going to be changes to the top 5 prestige in the next 12 months, but
100%.
I'm talking about the new #1 badass. Who's going to be the new #1 badass that everybody who is in a top alliance, who chases the top prestige, who's going to have to awaken and put 200 sig in there, or 999 after awakening? Who is that going to be? And that's what we gotta. Yeah, I mean, if you think it could be Gore, I mean, I could understand that too.
Because here's the thing. With the prestige situation being as what it is, and not expecting rank 5, 6 stars for another 6 months, they need to make moves.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's
and your pick, I like it, I love it, but again,
don't know.
I trust Jay's kind of like guesses, and by no means it seems that it would come this year. If you're talking about January, then the problem kind of again goes away a little bit, because then January, February, whatever is probably when we can maybe start looking at rank 5s, and that kind of shakes up everything else. What Kabam needs is something immediate. That's why I said I do have a feeling that Hulkling and Wiccan, one of those, will be in top 5. For again reasons that I.
Can you pull up a picture of Doom 2099? Just type in. You don't have to type in Doctor Doom. Just type in Doom 2099 because.
Yeah.
He looks like. I know I showed you one picture of him, but he looks pretty badass. If you guys haven't seen what he looks like, he changed the way. That you got to type in 2099. If you just typed in 2099, it would have been fine. But anyway, yeah, he's got the blue instead of the green. He's got silver. He's got the red eyes. He just actually, if you look at that one in the second row, the further right, the far right one, it almost looks like a model it could be used in the game. Yeah, right there. Looks like it's for a different game, maybe. But yeah, it definitely looks pretty awesome, though.
Omega or something.
Yeah, but yeah, so anyway, I just think he would be a badass character. If they don't release him as in this year or in the next 12 months as the top prestige champion, I just think it'd be a badass one to release eventually.
Because I do agree.
He looks just as I thought. Cosmic Ghost Rider, when he's awakened, becomes the best Mystic Cosmic Champion or Cosmic Mystic Champion out there. I think Doom could be the best Tech Mystic Champion out there also, where they can add an awakened ability that basically gives a Tech Champion Mystic abilities also, which would be just so awesome.
I mean, he's
Um,
100% cool character. I think, when we're talking about champions added, this is a stuff that we
yeah,
kind of all want. Especially,
yeah, we definitely do.
especially over versions of like Iron Man, Spider Man, stuff like that. But instead, we still
Yeah,
keep getting random Spideys. Instead, we still keep getting like a lot of random champions, and we don't really get many of these super kind of like epic characters that
yeah.
what
That's why I was saying this would be great if they did that, because the funny thing is, I mean, I read this back in the 90s when he first came out. They've kind of revamped him since then. I don't want to spoil it, but he's different now. Let me just say it, but he's still a really cool character, and they'll probably go with a modern take. But either way, yeah. But kind of what you've been talking about too is what my final prediction was, which was I think it's a good time to go to it. Is in the next 12 months, the top 5 prestige is going to look completely different than it looks like right this second.
I do think that Doom or Solar Surfer might still hang in there, but I do think at least three
Yeah, they
spots of
may,
that change.
because they're the top 2 right now.
Yeah,
But yeah,
and
I think everything else may be different.
well,
There may not be a single one
they
other than
kind of
those 2.
have to do something with rank fives
Yeah,
not being close by any stretch, right? We haven't seen a
yeah,
slither of the shards yet. Alliance is having max prestige, and if they just add the one champion, right, then
hmm
it's not gonna work for long. And as much as I dislike this type of game plan from Kabam,
yeah,
they kind of need to release 3, 4, 5 champions in succession that kind of dethrone each other and toss around it, and maybe completely revamp it. Everything kind of like prestige champion or prestige champion, take a break for one prestige champion, take a break prestige champion. So, because otherwise, again, there's going to be just more and more alliances that sit on same prestige, or
yeah. What?
or the other option is obviously, which is completely more radical, and revamp alliance quest entirely when prestige is not
Prestige
the
doesn't
main
matter.
kind of calculator, where having higher prestige does help you but doesn't guarantee you having max points. Like add another criteria, for
Yeah,
instance, less hits received, or some other criteria, or just kind of like or maybe do away with alliance or rank rewards altogether, and then kind of make prestige much less of a thing
could
in
you
the
imagine?
game. Uh,
Could you imagine if they did the opposite of that and they added prestige requirement to keep top alliance rankings as well?
so they could go many different ways, because this again, Kabam is not going to be okay with this situation. Players are not going to be okay with the situation where
No, not at all.
and,
But
and,
but
and
the thing is, they'll come back. That's the difference. Is Kabam has done so much crap over to players, and they keep coming back.
well,
We're
yeah,
the
I'm not
battered
necessarily
spouse.
saying getting to the point where people leave. I'm just saying that I think
Yeah.
we have major problems with Lions Quest in the game
Oh
in
yeah,
general, with
we do.
battlegrounds arriving and possibly taking a much bigger focus of the game than the current team game modes. I think it's perfect time to kind of like uh, take current alliance modes a bit to scraps and kind of
Yeah.
make them different, make them maybe a bit less, make them maybe a bit more condensed, or make them completely different based altogether. And that's kind of like the thing we have always thought of Alliance Quest, is this one thing, and the prestige is what it sells. But it doesn't have to be that way. Or they can easily monetize prestige in a different way. They can monetize prestige on an individual level, for instance, or they can do
Yeah.
a million
There's
different
a
things as long as they are creative. Obviously, as we know, there are certain departments in Kabam that aren't creative at all, and some that are. But
That's what I worry. That's kind of what I worry is I don't know if they'll be I don't know if they're going to want to revamp that much of the game, which is scary. I mean, it's scary in general because I don't know. I would like to see some things change. I
because
definitely
there
agree
is
with
a
a lot of
truth
what you're
to the
saying.
fact that prestige sells. Kabam could put literal poop emoji, give it 20k prestige, and everybody would drop bank, even if it had zero abilities and no attack or HP. Uh,
Yeah, people would buy it that care about prestige, and the people
but
that
but
don't wouldn't.
but
But
the question is whether that is the best Kabam can do. Maybe they can come up with something better.
yeah,
Or if they don't, then in the current situation, they really need to press many things on Prestige to shake it up.
Yeah. And I think they're going to go the latter. They're going to go to press Prestige to change, to do a lot of movements to make. Now, what I will say is, if they do release back-to-back new Prestige metas, in the top 5, I think they'll calculate it to where they're not going to all be in the same featured
Oh yeah, of
6-star when
course.
they get free. So that way you can't just say, I'm going to only go for this featured and
Yeah,
then, get all the new champions, hopefully.
of course.
But yeah. But anyway, that's been my kind of predictions that I wanted your thoughts on too, and kind of throw out there in the ether and
Yeah,
see
no,
what
fair play.
happens.
The one thing that obviously we didn't discuss too much this time around, and we can probably leave more in-depth discussion about, is battlegrounds and the formats and the
Yeah.
systems and the brackets and everything else. Because I'm not gonna lie, like we all have our moments with the game. We're not always interested in the game like in a straight line. We have our ups and downs, how much we care about what, and let's say 3 months ago, I was much more interested in Alliance War than I am currently. I was much less fed up with Alliance Quest than I am currently. I was more excited about story content and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Then right now, my personal kind of commitment to the game largely is through the lens of Battlegrounds, because I do think it has like by far the biggest potential in the game. It can be a complete game changer. It can make this game much more similar to an esport. Obviously, it has a lot of problems that need to be
Yeah, I think that could be a
sorted out.
whole teaser for another thing to talk
Yeah,
about,
that
because
that
I
that
have a
probably would
lot.
be the next week's topic of discussion where
I was
we
I
can
was
go.
gonna say, because I can provide some insight in when the beta testing was going on, because I was involved in that, and I can talk about some of the stuff in that still
Yeah.
without
So yeah, I
NDA.
think that probably is going to be the focus of the next conversation that we have, because there's a ton
Definitely.
of that, and yeah, now it's going to go away, and we don't know for how long. And on again on a personal level, that makes me kind of very uneasy, unhappy, because I do want them to fix all the problems, and I do want them to take as much time as they need
I
so that they can deal with whatever problems there are. If it takes a month or 2 or 3, I'd rather them
yeah,
take 3 months or 4 months than bring it back the way it was right now, because obviously as
that's
soon as you would add some sort of rank rewards or more rewards and kind of general incentive to it, this entire situation would just escalate immediately when you get matched against a modder and crap like that.
we'll talk more later,
Yeah.
but that's what I was gonna say. The thing that bothered me was it came back again, and I think it added uncollected or something like that to it that couldn't get it before. But anyway, they didn't improve things that I brought to their attention, and I even brought to attention to my contact before he left the company, which was kind of weird too. Um, and they didn't fix it. They didn't even touch it. It didn't look like they even messed with it, which is scary. If they're gonna bring it back, they need to fix those things
Yeah.
first.
Because there are definite, Balgons is such an awesome thing that I have done, but there are very, very, very big problems. It's kind of
Yep.
like Kabam has built their Death Star, but they
Yeah.
are refusing to patch the hatch.
They're leaving it open. They're like, no one's gonna go after
Yeah.
that. Meanwhile, everybody that
This is
knows
gonna
about it's
work
going
out.
after it. Yeah,
I don't
it's
see.
fine.
In the first beta, somebody blew up the entire game mode. Oh, that surely isn't gonna happen again.
That person probably got banned.
Uh,
I think someone may have banned him. Didn't Frank ban him last week? Who
yeah,
knows?
something
Frank
like
went on
that.
vacation.
Cause yeah. Because Battlegrounds is where majority of my current interest for the game peaks out.
I would be playing it more if not for the problems that I see with it.
I played
And the
despite the
fact,
problems that I see with it.
well, I wanted to love it, and I've been a part of it for a long time, and so the fact that I don't love it screams why I think it needs to be fixed.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. Like, I love
I
it,
know.
and I choose to ignore the problems. Like when I get matched with the modder, I just immediately force quit, and I choose to neglect it, kind of ignore it, because obviously I have voiced my critique and opinions, and it's not changed. And whenever you do criticize Kabam, there's always these cockroaches coming out of woodwork. It's like, well, it's just a beta. It's like, yeah, it's third beta, and the same people are cheating that did in the first and second
I guess
weeks.
I was gonna
You
say,
know,
yeah, I forgot they called this a beta, so I guess maybe I did the alpha. I don't know what. I
yeah,
did testing. Let me just put it that way.
and when they say it's just a beta, it's like, yeah,
Just
but
a
you know,
beta,
normal
bro.
beta tests also don't necessarily require me to invest my resources in the game or give
Yeah,
rewards.
beta.
You know?
Yeah, that's where they made it different. Was the beta was actually on the live servers using your live resources and giving you access to
Yeah,
live options of rewards, and that's not
and that's not necessarily a
that.
beta test. It's
That's
kind of
called
like,
a testing, but
yeah,
you're
it's called like a
actually
test run or something like that, or
yeah, it's not
whatever.
what you think it is. Anyway,
And obviously these issues. Okay, we're gonna leave it there, but I
we'll
think
leave
that
it
that's
there.
gonna
Well,
be a good
to be
subject to go
continued.
through in detail next week.
To
But
be
that's gonna
continued.
be it, I think, for this week.
Yeah, I had a good time. Glad to be back in the swing of things
Oh yeah,
again.
definitely. So,
Got some more coming.
yeah, I need to. Well, I'm gonna upload this, then I need to prepare for my final Balgrons beta stream, and then the update ought to be coming out very soon, and rest of the things. So, very
Well,
busy
good
day
luck with
today.
that. That should be fun.
Yeah. All right then. Hope you guys enjoyed the KT time, and
Yeah.
we'll catch you guys later. See ya.
Bye.
Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about the next